Hachette Audio presents Campfire, written by Shawn Sarles, read by Charlotte Blacklock. To Vera Pitney, English teacher extraordinaire, who made me believe I really could write. Foreword. As a storyteller, telling scary stories around the fire was always my favorite part of a camping trip. Listening to the fire crackle, holding a flashlight up to my face, whispering ghost stories and urban legends, and making everyone too terrified to crawl into their dark tents. Campfire by Shawn Sarles took me right back to those hair-raising moments. The idea that scary stories can come to life, that the stuff of nightmares might be real, is so terrifying, I guarantee it'll give you goosebumps. James Patterson. Prologue. Maddie Davenport sat alone in the front seat of the idling car. She fiddled with the radio, switching from pop to country to oldies before stabbing the dial and silencing it. Her restless fingers flew to her head and snagged a strand of her long blonde hair. She twirled it into a thick curl and held it there, eyeing the effect in the rearview mirror. So pretty. If only she had natural curls like her mother. A frustrated sigh escaped her lips, and she let the curl drop. She glanced out the front windshield and in the darkness could just make out the sign hanging in front of her mom's small office, Davenport and Towson Realty. Her mom had said she'd only be a minute, but that had been 10 minutes ago. And did Maddie really expect anything less? She'd been late all 11 years of her life, for dance classes, track meets, birthday parties, and even school. Why would today be any different? Why would today be the day her mom decided to put her daughter ahead of her job? Maddie pursed her lips and glanced toward the office. It was a look of pure attitude, one her mother would have withered under. Usually she could deal with this. The lateness, the waiting around, her constant placement as first runner-up in her mom's poor attempt to balance work and family. But not today. Not after the day she'd had at school. Not after Chelsea Park had stood up during lunch and called her Saint Maddie in front of the whole cafeteria. It had spread like pink eye, and by last period, everyone had started crossing themselves in front of her, had started bowing their heads and offering mock prayers to her. Saint Maddie, the patron saint of crybabies, of teachers' pets, of prudes. The list had grown as the day had gone on. Maddie looked at herself in the rearview mirror again. The insult burned deep within her. She tried to smile, but couldn't keep it up. She grimaced and dropped her head, burying it in her hands. 2 years of braces wasted. She'd never have anything to be happy about again. And all because she hadn't kissed Tommy Myers during that stupid game of spin the bottle. Why hadn't she just gone with it? The thought crossed her mind for about the 100th time. His Funyuns breath, for starters. She could barely stand sitting 6 feet away from him. The thought of locking lips. She had almost gagged when the bottle had come to a stop, its neck pointing right at her. And that's how she'd escaped. She'd leaped to her feet, her hand pressed to her mouth as she hurried out of the basement, out of Chelsea's house, and made her way home early. It wasn't the smoothest of exits, but it had worked. She'd escaped. Still, Maddie had known that there'd be hell to pay Monday morning, but she hadn't cared. Until, of course, she had. Saint Maddie. It wasn't even that bad. At least, it could have been so much worse. But it wasn't the name that got under Maddie's skin. It was the way Chelsea said it, the way her lips curled up into a sly smirk, that twinkle of mischief and malice that winked from the mean girl's narrowed eyes. Maddie twisted in her seat and crossed her arms. She needed a plan, something to combat the good girl lies, a way to dirty up her image. But what? She sighed. Why did Chelsea have to be such a bitch? A satisfied smirk lifted Maddie's lips.